Hello and welcome back. Alec Manoah has been demoted, but Brandon Belt has found his swing, and it's all-star voting time. All that and more on this episode of Swinging a Drive.
Swinging a drive. Get up, bar. He's done it again. A two-run shot in the first.
All right, hi everybody. As always, that's James and I'm Logan. And before we get started, we'd like to take a minute for you guys to like and subscribe. Stay up to date on all future Swinging a Drive content. James, how you doing today, man?
I'm not too bad today. Yesterday felt I was a little gutted. But sometimes things have to happen, I think.
It wasn't unexpected though, right? I mean, we've talked about it a bunch of times. I've been asking why it hasn't happened yet. I think this is the best thing that could have happened. I don't know what else they could have done.
Like you said, last time we chatted, we need to give him a break and treat him with kindness. And I think this is actually like the kindest
and that's what's
thing
going to happen, right?
It's the kindest thing you can do in the situation right now, I think, is
he got sent down to a league that doesn't even have an A in it. It's he's going to Dunedin. There'll be no scrutiny down there. He won't even play in any games until there's been a lot of work figured out.
Well, that's what they were talking about on Blair and Barker earlier this afternoon. He's not going down there and getting thrown right in for innings. He's not getting put in game situations. They're just like, no, man, just take your time, figure it out. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So, and that, it gets to the what's going on.
It unfortunately exposes the significantly larger problem.
Yeah, the depth situation. Like, what's the Blue Jays plan here?
Depth.
What's the Blue Jays plan here? Yeah,
zero depth.
So what are you what are you on? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I don't know what you can do. There's several like trade rental pieces, I would say, on the market. Cleveland's Shane Bieber probably will be traded at the trade deadline.
That seems crazy. I don't know what the ask.
White Sox Lucas Giolito might be traded at the trade deadline. He took a no-hitter into the 7th yesterday. Maybe the 6th. Anyway, he's good. Who else can I think of off the top of my head? There's a couple other possibilities for sure.
Yeah.
Trade candidates. I think the problem is you need to go outside the organization right now. And nobody's trading right now. So I don't know what they're going to do. Everyone's kind of talking about picking up a guy that has been released or something like that. And I was like, well, what the heck's the point of that?
Picking up a Bumgarner so that he can do just like Manoah has been doing?
Right? Like the thing is we've got Bowden Francis, and we've got Zach Thompson, and they'll give you just as much as anybody that's been released by somebody, right?
So was Zach Thompson not DFA'd?
Did we DFA? Oh, you're right. We did the other day. He got DFA'd.
Yeah. Well, and so, but this goes to it, right?
That was part of the moves that happened yesterday.
That's right. I really think, like, so if you're Bowden Francis, who's by all accounts the only guy that's really doing anything in AAA this year to warrant a look right now. If you're Bowden Francis, you have to be going like, okay, this is when I get my look. This is when I get my shot. So just like Manoah did when he had his shot, you take the ball and you make it impossible for them to take you out of that rotation. And I don't know
that's the ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's the ideal situation. Is there? I kind of don't understand the way the moves were made. I don't. They're talking about possibly Bowden Francis being used in relief throughout the week before Saturday. So I guess like tomorrow or Friday, and then possibly not being used in the start on Saturday, which would be Manoah's spot. I don't understand why they didn't bring up somebody to put in the pen for the next 3 days, and then you send them back down and bring up Bowden Francis to do the start on Saturday.
Right.
so that you've got the fresh arms moving around in the bullpen, and then you bring up the guy for the start. You can still piggyback like um Trevor Richards or maybe even Nate Pearson,
Yeah, I think Pearson.
except like, well, like the thing is Pearson now is become a pretty decent leverage guy.
Oh, he's yeah, and
You
that's
know,
one thing
like
like for sure.
he's
Yeah.
so you don't really want to use that piece, even though he could go possibly like 2 and a bit, maybe like 3 full innings. You don't want to use that piece too early. So I think you go with Richards, and then if Richards struggles, you can bring in Pearson, depending on if you're in the lead or whatever, however the game goes, right? But
Yeah, like I really thought that the way they were going to handle that would be like Bowden Francis would get the start, but he would be used more of as like a
almost like an opener.
opener where he might get 2
Yeah.
or 3, maybe get 1 time through the order depending on how efficient he was. And if he
Yeah.
looked really good, they might stretch it out a little bit, but ultimately use that for like in a bullpen day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to get through this period between starts and then be able to formulate a better long-term situation and see how Manoah's progressing. Like it's going to be a bit, but like see, though it's just like anything.
I'm
You have to
concerned we don't see Manoah again this season.
I'm not going to be too fatalistic about it, but yeah, like it's always a concern. Actually, Barker yesterday, suddenly on in the afternoons when I'm having
I know now you get to see it every day, and
afternoon
it's off.
snacks.
It's not
Yeah,
on when I'm on anymore.
but he's
The time change sucks.
he talked about it because he kind of went through something somewhat similar in his career where you're a major leaguer and you get sent down and you have to go through this kind of internal thought battle with yourself about I'm not a major leaguer anymore. Will I ever get back there? I don't really think that that's Manoah's thought. Like I think
I
he's
heard
like,
him rambling on about that, and like, look, respect to the guy, he played in the big leagues, but his career was over when he got sent down to the minor leagues. Not like just getting started. It wasn't a go get better and come back. It was a you're done kind of situation. And he tried to come back and couldn't.
right.
So I don't think that what he says is a very smart idea. I think Alek Manoah needs to keep thinking he's a big leaguer and continue thinking he's a big leaguer, which are the same thing. I just said the same thing twice in a row. And then that mentality needs to be his mentality. He needs to find the dog again. Like he's not a dog anymore. He's just a guy that throws baseballs.
Yeah. No, and that's
worse than most people in the league. So
yeah, it's like you were talking about the other day how he had said he was kind of stuck in that mentality of don't throw it here, and before it was throw it here to get the out, throw it here to get the out. That I'm going to throw it here to get the out, and that's the way he would have
right. Like I've never played any professional sport. Obviously, I've played moderately high levels of sports, and the second you're thinking, "Don't screw up," you're toast. You're done. You're like it's over for you. That's like the path to the yips right there. Like you're on your way, well on your way.
The yips
to the yips.
Yeah, the yips, man. It's the classics. You're standing on the water hole in golf. Don't hit it in the water. Don't hit it in the water. Where's it going?
The sand, don't hit the sand. Don't hit the sand.
It's going right there.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's going.
If you're saying don't miss, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
If you're saying I got this shit.
Yeah.
And that was the mentality he had for the last couple seasons, and I don't see it on the mound anymore. And obviously, like over his starts, however many, I don't know exactly how many it was so far, like 13 starts has he had, 11 starts?
I kind of don't know.
Anyway,
off the top of my head.
Over all of his starts, you just see him mentally like declining. And I mean, like not like mentally, but like emotionally. Emotionally, you can see it on him.
Yeah.
Wearing him down more and more and more. until finally it hit the breaking point of like 1 out and 6 runs. And you know, you got to send him down to the instructional leagues to go figure it out. And let's face it, this is the first time he has faced any adversity in the game at all.
Well, and this is something I brought up with you yesterday, I think.
So he'll bounce back.
This is the adversity part of his career. He's had he's been fighting through the adversity part of his life, which hit him way too early for anybody to have to really deal with that. And this is now the adversity part of his career. It's happening right now. It, like, everybody goes through something like this on their way up. Well, almost everybody. So he'll, like you said, he's
well, again,
that guy.
you know, you can go back to a point that Blair brought up on Blair and Barker the other day about it, was like, look at the list of guys that have been sent down before. Mickey Mantle has been sent down.
Yeah.
You know, Edwin Encarnacion got sent down twice. Who else? Roy Halladay. Everyone's talking about the Roy Halladay comparison.
Dave Steeb was one that they showed. And there was another Blue Jays, Pat Henkin.
Henkin.
It's a thing. It's a thing that's going to happen.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's especially because you're very good when you're new, because nobody knows what you've got. Then in the next little while, he was able to fool guys a little bit. And now the league has adjusted. So the league has adjusted, and that's causing him to get hit around a little bit, and he's struggling to get out of that. And then it becomes a mental thing. And now emotionally you're drained, mentally you're drained. I think this is great for Alec. This is great for Alec. You can't throw him out there on Saturday to get beat up one more time. He couldn't take that, I don't think.
No, and you know, and he's also struggling against he's watching these seasoned pros keep their cool, come out consistently, do it. And I think that he, like, you could see it when they brought him out in the dugout, there was a frantic sort of like, I gotta figure this out, like, oh my God, kind of look on his face, like he knew. And like it's crushing, like, to see that, like,
well, that's it. Like, to say he doesn't know is silly, right? Like, he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
But when it's in your head, you can know exactly what you're doing and still screw it up every time, because you've got mental blocks of whatever kind. Like, who knows what's going on with him right now? I don't think it's a mechanical thing. Some guys are saying it might be mechanical. It's not mechanical. I do think the pitch clock has really affected him.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree. And I don't know if it's for different reasons. Blair talked about it. He's worried about, like, conditioning, because if you have to keep going so fast between pitches, it, like, you know, like, it does wear you down a little bit. And when you fatigue,
part of the conditioning, right? Like,
yeah, it's like a speed skater is when you see the speed skater is fatiguing, the back starts to lift up a little bit, and then they're not as efficient in their stride. And it's just like, you start to fatigue as a baseball pitcher.
Yeah, well, he's throwing so many pitches per inning right now. His pitch per inning count is way up. It's in the 20s. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's giving it max effort every time. So he's exhausted out there. So he just needs to get trained up for the pitch clock a little better. Now, I'm not like saying he needs to hit the weight room or anything. He just needs to figure out the pace of the pitch clock and be able to sustain that pace a little better. He works hard, so he'll figure that out.
And and I don't think that this isn't a fat shaming situation. This is
not at all.
This is I think if you watch Chris Bassett, who put in another stellar situation today, like, if you watch that,
lights out today.
Chris Bassett does a great job of just stepping off the mound, taking a breath, thinking about the situation, calling his pitch, taking another breath, and he's
Right.
really
Anytime
trying to
there is a
control
chance to take a second, he takes the second.
he takes a chance to control his breath and his emotions, and then deliver the
Yeah.
pitch. And I really think that's one thing, because Alec is a different kind of pitcher. He's fired up, he's really excited,
Yeah.
and that's where you let, like, I played sports the same way. I think more to the Alec Manoah side of things, when you let your emotions get the better of you more often, and then if it's in a negative way, and you don't channel it into the positive outcome, and you let it eat you up, that's when you fall into these kind of bad situations, I think. So
Yeah.
like,
So
yeah.
I mean, anyway, I like to really wrap up about Alec. I don't want to like beat a dead horse with this thing because it's been talked about a million hours already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody's got an
But
Alec Manoah take already.
he's gonna come back from this strong. It just might take a while. Like, don't expect him back before the All-Star break, that's for sure. I mean, I'm calling it anyway.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, like, the mental side of this game is the hardest part, especially for a pitcher who's standing out there in the middle of the field, all eyes on you, all pitches. Like, it's going to take him a bit to get himself back, but he will. Hopefully, it'll be this season. Maybe we'll get them all back. We'll have a 6-man rotation. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said, we've been quite lucky as a team that we've been through as many times, our rotation as many times. I think we're the only team in
Yeah,
base, the
this
only
is the
team in
first
ball.
time we won't use one of our original 5 starters.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I think Atlanta or something has used like 12 or 16 or something
yeah, I saw a
ridiculous.
crazy number. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's high. Yeah,
it's
so
really high. And then there they are killing it over in the NL East.
we count ourselves fortunate for that, and we knew it's coming. So that's one thing, is like the Blue Jays need to have this figured out, and we're lucky to have Bassett throwing 15.2 innings in his last 2 outings, and having just like going on paternity leave. His
Dad
wife
power.
his wife has a million hours of labor, and he comes back and throws another jet. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
thank you. Like,
Yep. He is a professional baseball player.
he's great to watch, man.
Like, yeah, he goes out there and he just goes to work, does his job, boom. Apparently, the night she had the baby, he snuck out, went and did his side session, and then went back.
I heard about
Come
that.
on, come on.
That's great, right? Like, got his prep
So
in
good.
for this game, and then came out
Yeah,
and threw. And like, really,
and came
like,
out and shoved it to Houston.
it's like, okay, it was coming around at the top of the order again. I get it, but you're on 81 pitches, and you're just like,
I am a little peeved that he
it's
wasn't
like
out there in the 9th.
it's not a no, and it's not a shutout. I get it, but like,
Yeah,
it felt
but it could have been a
wrong.
Maddox. It could have been a Maddox, which is just as cool as both of those.
Now,
Well, not quite, but
what's a Maddox?
complete game, less than 100 pitches.
Oh yeah. Easily could have been a Maddox.
Yeah. I was like, we're gonna get a Maddox today, and then
Oh.
he doesn't go. I'm like, oh, you gotta be.
And okay, so was he? Did he know? Was he just like faking them out when he was pacing in the dugout before the 9th, or
Did he know he was coming out?
did he know he was coming out, or did they tell him just before?
I don't know.
Because like, it looked like he looked ready to come back in the game. Like, he was
I
like,
kind of think if the Jays had scored another run, that they might have sent him back out there just to give him a little cushion. But because it was just the one run, they brought out Romano, which, like I said, I texted you earlier. I said I've never been so pissed off to see Romano come into the game.
yeah, I was
I was not pleased with the decision,
yeah, I was
to
a little
say the least.
disappointed. Yeah.
But
But
whatever, we
it worked out.
won.
Yeah.
That's it. Shoved it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
so that's two all-star pitchers that we have that I know everybody's talking Gosman for the all-star game here,
two all-stars.
but let's talk
It better
about it.
be.
Like, we got at
I
least two
think
all-stars.
I think we got two guys, well, three guys for sure that need to get voted in, right? Which are the two pitchers we just mentioned, Bassett and Gosman. But Bichette has to be going as well, right?
No,
like Jays fans have got to vote Bichette in 100%. And I really think Chapman still deserves an opportunity to go as well.
he'll get a lot of votes. And the thing about Bichette is it's not just going to be the Blue Jays fans that are going to vote Bichette in because he's atop the league. Like, by the numbers, people are going to have to recognize around the league, and there's going to be Bichette votes coming from honest fans, just being like, look, he deserves it. So like, it'll be like, if you look at their their OPS plus stat they showed in the ball game with him and Wander Franco, and they're both basically 50 points up on the next closest person kind of thing.
Yep.
So if they're not starting the All-Star game, and neither of them slowing down, like Bo Bichette is not slowing down. So I find myself doing this thing.
Center field home runs. He's not slowing down one bit. 14th home run of the season.
We've got this full-length mirror in our living room, and I'm watching the slow-mo of Bichette, and I'm like, how does this guy that's basically the same size as me do what he's doing as far as power goes? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm sitting there. Well, yeah, like I sit there in front of the mirror, and I'm like, I watch him, and like, you see his, like, he should be a salsa dancer, man. Like, the hips on that man. Like, I can't, like, I sit there and I try and hit.
What I don't understand
hips
is like
that. Like, it is nuts.
The pitches he manages to foul off, and then the pitches he manages to hit. Like, he fouls off pitches to me that look like they're right down the middle. I'm like, oh, he's going to crush this one. And then he fouls it back. And then he like waits to get one on the outer half and smash it the other way. Like, his the control of the strike zone is next level, man. Like, people do not talk about it enough. How many pitches he fouls off, like, and not even just bad pitches, like totally good pitches. He's like, I don't want to hit that one. Foul it off. Give me a heater, miss a little more with something, hang me a curveball. That's the one, and then bang. Like, he's unreal right now.
Well,
like,
that's the thing, right? Like, as a hitter, and as a pitcher, right? You throw him a couple pitches, you got him set up 0-2, and then he just starts doing that. He just starts fouling it off,
you think you're setting him up, but you're wrong.
And then you miss one. Okay, he fouls off another one. You miss another one, fouls off another. All of a sudden, he's got you back to a 3-2 count. And you're like, how am I can't lose this guy, and he knows he's got you. Bo Bichette knows he's got you, and you're
3-2, or it'll go like 0-2, and then he fouls off like 5 or 8 pitches, and then takes 3 balls, and all of a sudden it's 3-2. Like, it's crazy the at bats this guy takes.
It just waits for the pitcher to make one tiny little mistake, leave it just in the wrong spot, and then gives it and doesn't care if he takes it the opposite way. It's what he's really kind of.
He's going to get MVP votes this year. I know that we're chanting MVP for the old man, who we'll talk about in a bit, who's starting to hit a little bit, which is nice. But he's going to get legit MVP votes this year, is Bo Bichette.
Well, he's earning them right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and he cleaned, like, the Buck said, I think they said 53 games or something like that since his last error.
The error where the Phillies walked it off.
Where the Phillies walked it off, and I made
that was his last error.
I was bitching
and
that day.
Lost your mind.
I did, and then I feel like a jerk because he is, to his credit, he's as a ball player and somebody that as a pro, to like clean up his play, to know that was something that has plagued him. Like, good on him, man.
That diving play he made today with the flip to second, that's nice.
Very nice. Yeah,
that was a good play.
And
then he made like all 3 throws in the what was it, 8th or 8th inning, I think. There, like, he's been working hard to clean up the throws, I think. And I'm wondering if he's working with Chapman a little bit. You see him take a double clutch more often now,
Right.
which is often an indication that they're getting the ball set up better in their hand.
Yeah, they take a beat. You know, you got a little more time. I mean, on that side of the
Yeah.
field, I remember playing on that side of the field. Always felt like so far away, and you had so little time.
It
But
is.
the ball covers a lot of ground really fast. Like when Chapman double clutches and then fires a missile, it still gets
That play,
the out.
look, doesn't even have to stretch. Like the play's even close. Vladdy just like bangs it in on his chest.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. No, he's
Chapman is lights out.
he's
on
very
that
good.
angle. Can't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like he's made a few errors this year for sure. But as far as
Guess
it
who has the
goes,
same amount of errors as Chapman?
I'm gonna say Bichette.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I like every time Chapman makes an
Right?
error, and I'm like, oh god. I always talk about how good Chapman is.
Yeah. He is good though. He is good. He had a tough couple of days when he was sick.
Yeah.
And then he had his little toenail issue that he dealt with. I
Yeah.
can tell you from experience that sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
And back making awesome defensive plays. So
Yeah, and
I think the best thing about Chapman is no matter what happens with the bat, the defense will always be good.
yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that they talked about with Varsho too, right? It's
Same with
you
Varsho.
might not always be getting the top end of their batting abilities,
Who,
but
by
you're
the way,
always getting
everyone was
max
tearing
effort.
apart.
Yeah.
Nobody was happy with Varsho the first bit of the season, first month of the season. Why is he hitting cleanup? Why is he hitting cleanup?
I saw an article
Now
written
he's got the second most home runs on the team.
from Arizona media that said Moreno and Gurriel making Varsho look like Christmas Cole. And
I mean, they're both playing well, which is good for them.
it's good. It's good. Everybody got what they wanted out of the deal.
Like everyone's like, oh, why we trade him all this stuff? I'm like, you can't tell me that you think Gurriel would have 11 home runs at this point of the season in the AL East. There's no way in the AL East. No chance.
Well, that's just it, right? Is Varsho is 24 years old, not 28. And he's look compare them over the next couple of years. So this is Varsho going through Gurriel's 24 through 27-year-old seasons. And I want to reassess at the end of those 3 seasons when he's the same age as Gurriel was when we sent him to Arizona.
Right. Well, I mean, Gurriel's having like a career season.
Is he? I honestly have not even. I just saw
I mean,
the headline.
I don't know the numbers exactly.
He's having a good year for himself.
He's hitting well. He's already got more home runs this year than he had last year. But he's hitting in Arizona now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, the Diamondbacks in general are doing very well this season. So I say so far in my mind, trade's a win-win.
Yeah, I certainly don't feel like it's a loss.
I do not miss having Gurriel around. He's still a liability in the outfield.
Massive. And a liability on
that.
A liability on the base paths.
Liability on the base paths, 100%.
So
and Moreno's playing well in his first full season, so good for him too.
Good for him.
Hopefully that can continue.
Yeah. But back to the Blue Jays, I guess we go
to the Blue Jays.
And getting close to the end.
All-star voting. Do you think Vladdy's going to get votes?
He'll get votes, but mostly from Toronto. I don't think that anybody is particularly.
But here's the thing: in the past, Blue Jays voters have been like the best voters.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like the other thing is who else from the American League could it be at first base? I was trying to think about it. It's not going to be Abreu. He's been very bad. It could be Rizzo, but is he injured? I don't know. There's so many Yankees injured all the time. I don't know if he's injured right now or not. Diaz probably
Diaz, yeah, he's having a
from
very good
well
season.
everybody from the Rays should just be there. Like what the hell? So I don't know who plays first base in the AL West. Does anybody from the AL West have a chance at being the second guy? Like I still think Vladdy. It could be Vladdy and who the heck did we just say?
Diaz.
Diaz.
Yeah, I feel like Diaz will be the starter.
Yeah, yeah.
Vladdy will get his votes. He might feel like he didn't, earn, but I mean, he, like we talked about last time, like he's still hitting a high 280 in the 280s, which
He's still hitting pretty good.
is a very good average. So and maybe he wants to come and get some frustrations out at the home run derby. I'm sure he would be invited to that. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are ahead of him in the home run count.
Maybe not no home runs at the Sky Dome. Sorry, Rogers Center.
Right.
You watch Dalton Varsho flick his wrist and chuck one out, and you wonder why Vladdy can't get a single one out right now. He's got something. He's got some sort of mental block too, but that's a topic for another day.
It is a topic for another day as we come down to it here. Yeah, we'll see what happens. The Jays are at least kind of on the right side of things. They seem to have gotten a few things figured out despite the situation with Manoah. I think that
bats are coming alive.
Trending. A few guys are coming, getting it back. So we'll see what happens here in the next little while as they navigate the new situation.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with the hopeful trade situations. I think it's pretty imperative that they go out and get somebody. Because I don't think we can bank on Ryu being back at the All-Star break. I hope he is, but I don't think that's something you can bank on.
Yeah.
So I really hope that we hear a lot of rumors about the Blue Jays making some trades, even though I don't think we have much to trade. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. No. Yeah, well, and make sure everybody you get your voting in for the All-Star game. It is in Seattle, so if you are fortunate enough, if you got time, if you got money, go
if
go
there's still
check it
tickets
out.
left,
Yeah,
probably
if you
not.
can do it, just go support the support the Blue
that'd be
Jays
great to
All-Star
go.
game.
Yeah,
that'd be such a super fun trip to do. We'll see what happens, but
you can vote like
anyway.
5 times a day or something. So
yeah, get your votes in.
Get your votes in.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope to see you again in the future. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll make sure that we keep making videos. And once again, thanks a lot, guys. Go Jays, go.
Go Jays.